Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS, who rules well, peace, and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is "The Burning Wrath of a Great Multitude will go door to door," says J.D Vance. Right, and basically in this video, J.D Vance says these ICE agents will eventually will basically go door to door, right, to handle business. Basically, we have Isaiah 59:19. It says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Bashmawashai shall lift up a standard against him." Right. So we understand and know that the enemy will come in like a flood, but for the hopeful elect, the Most High Yahweh Bashmawashai will lift up a standard for his elect. Right. And you get this word standard. It goes into us.
Strong's H 5127. Noose. Noose.
Right. It says to flee, escape, take flight, depart, disappear, to fly. Right. To put to flight, to drive hastily, to cause, to disappear, hide. And ultimately, this standard will equate to spiritual power. Right. Some type of divine intervention, spiritual power to allow us to be able to, handle our situation or get away from our situation regarding these troops. We understand and know that some of us will be taken, right, and beheaded and whatnot, but some of us will also be protected, and held until the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, basically, So this is the video here. Vance ICE going. It says Vance ICE going house to house. Fuck the Fourth Amendment.
I know I'm supposed to be scared and worried about the rhetoric coming out of the White House, but when the president is wearing more makeup than the Joker and the vice president looks like David Bowie with all his eyeliner, it's just hard to take him seriously. But we should, because they are rolling out some really screwed up stuff. Take a listen to this interview with Vice President J.D. Vance. Just listen along with me and see if you can spot the thing that's so disturbing.
What we've done is actually gotten 2.5 million illegal aliens out without any of the really big marquee things that we've been working on. That was just simple willpower and the President of the United States coming in and saying, this is done. I think we're just...
Okay, so again, this is an important fact check that I want to roll out here, is that calling it 2 million deportations is just really an incredible stretch. And that's because the vice president is referring to the fact that they canceled the legal status of about 1.6 million of those people. And that just means that they were here on temporary protected status or on parole, and they just sort of canceled them and then they went home. So that's like saying that I was a deported illegal when my student visa in Italy ran out and I took a flight home. That's just called immigration. That's not really a deportation operation. Again, just need to make sure we bring in some context here. And by the way, the remaining 600,000 or so deportations they've done, that's basically an average year for Joe Biden. That's just regular run-of-the-mill stuff, which should then ask you, right? You should put that in context because it should raise a question for you of, well, what is all these tactics for? What is
exactly? And like he said something about the 2 million, and that 2 million is basically, like he said, just people that had, like, let's say a working permit here to come work, and they cancel all of that, so they had to leave. And then he goes into the rest of the 600,000 is just like normal deportations that you see on a regular scale. So he's saying, what is all of this things that are happening, and ultimately is a part of the greater plan and scheme to basically have troops in America when America collapses, right? When they bring in their chaos, they want to have order. So they want their soldiers or their troops here, which would be individuals from other countries, because as you can see, people already telling the U.S. troops to decline illegal orders and things like that. So a lot of these U.S. troops won't be doing the dirty work when things hit the fan because their families also live here, and all of this stuff things. So a lot of these people that they're bringing in, and I would suspect some of these ICE agents, and the more, that eventually apply will be ones waiting, that were brought in with Biden, right? During the Biden time, you had the immigrants flood in, right? A lot of those people that flooded in were middle-aged men, and even back then, they was asking questions about where's your family? What do you do? Like, how are you just here? So a lot of these individuals are just probably waiting, and then if they do have an influx or increase in troops um, being hired by ICE, then you would know where those individuals came from. But ultimately, it's that flood, you know, and it's the flood of the enemy, right? To eventually go after the elect, or not even the elect, will try to go after the elect, and also the 2/3 of our people, but everyone else. As you can see, they recently killed Edomite female, right? And they with no regard. And the president, the vice president, they're saying nothing about it, right? Because they want trouble, they want chaos to bring about their new world order, right? So that's what's happening.
The rest of his statement about really.
See those deportation numbers ramp up as we get more and more people online working for ICE, going door to door and making sure that if you're an illegal alien, you've got to get out of this country, and if you want to come back, apply through the proper channels.
So again, did you?
And also, what this goes to is the MOTB is a part of the master plan too. A lot of different angles. We don't know who you are. We don't know where you came from, what you're doing. If you want to come back, take this MOTB. So all of it plays into that too. All right. That's why they're having the digital IDs and the planes with the airplanes. You need the little star on your license and different things like that. Right. All of this plays into one grand master plan, right? Of the MOTB, which is the New World Order being initiated.
Catch the part that was so weird, that their plan is to have ICE officers go door to door searching for illegal aliens, which of course is any alien, because as we've just discussed, you can be here legally, you can enter through the proper channels, and they'll just cancel your visa and declare you an illegal alien.
And you can be a United States citizen, a female, right? Dropping off your children at school and trying to leave away with your partner, whatever the case may be, and be in the way and get shot in the head 3 or 4 times and deemed a domestic terrorist by the United States government on a U.S. citizen. They don't really care. They're deporting whoever they want to deport.
Now, I want to point out the reason this bothers me is not because I'm like, I love people that overstay their visas or that enter the country without authorization. It's because of this pesky part right here, the Fourth Amendment. That's always where they get you. It's never the first. It's always the fourth.
All right, so the Fourth Amendment, it said the Fourth Amendment protects Americans from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government, requiring that warrants be supported by probable cause, sworn oaths, and must specifically describe the place to search and items to seize, forming a cornerstone of U.S. privacy rights, especially concerning homes, persons, papers, right, and effects. Though exceptions to warrant requirements exist, particularly with technology. Okay, and ultimately the Fourth Amendment, Esau, Edom, the devil, right? Nero 47 is ruling like a king. He is ruling like the mad king, and he does not care about authority, right? And that's how this mass flood is able to just come in and don't give a fuck about a warrant or anything like that. Right, this is Isaiah 19:1. It says, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai arrived upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt." That swift cloud is a chariot, and Egypt is talking about America. And the idols, right, false deities of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, so the American against the American, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's fastly approaching. Right, you can already see it happening, and it's going to increase. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols, so that they're seeking heavy now on what? AI, right? Into the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shai, the Lord of hosts. Right? And ultimately that fierce king, that cruel lord is who? Nero 47. Right. And that's why, he said the things what he said regarding the Fourth Amendment or the Constitution or international law or UN, right?
Do you see any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop.
The New York Times published an interview with Donald Trump yesterday that should be the top of the news everywhere. The quotes from Donald Trump disregarding international law, U.S. law, any constraints or restraints on his power. He believes he is a king-like figure. He doesn't believe that he is a servant leader, that he is a public servant. He believes that we are his subjects. We are subject to him, that he is not subject to the laws. He is not constrained by the laws, that all he has to go on and the only authority he needs is whatever morality he has in his empty bucket of a brain. That this man who is a convicted felon, a credibly accused rapist of children, someone who is an adjudicated sexual assaulter of women, he believes that he has the total right to do anything he pleases. This is the headline from the New York Times. Trump lays out a vision of power restrained only by, quote, my own morality. On topic after topic, President Trump made clear that he would be the arbiter of any limits to his authorities, not international law or treaties. He would be the arbiter. He'll decide just how much power he has. What's the history of the world when a dictator takes power? Do they say, oh no, that's too much power for me. I need to dial it back a little bit. I need be a little bit more reasonable and constrained in my execution of my authority. What dictator ever did that? What tyrant ever did that? What megalomaniacal, demented lunatic ever did that? This is from the article, and there are some doozy quotes in here. President Trump declared on Wednesday evening that his power as commander-in-chief is constrained only by his own morality, brushing aside international law and other checks on his ability to use military might to strike, invade, or coerce nations around the world. Asked in a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times if there were any limits on his global powers, Mr. Trump said, yeah, there is one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me.
Do you see any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop it.
If Donald Trump had a powerful mind, I would think, oh yeah, maybe that's good because his powerful mind could stop him. But Donald Trump does not have a powerful mind. He is driven by his weakness, by his insecurities. He's driven by his cracked, broken ego, begging for the the Nobel Prize, whining when he doesn't get it. The man who was not hugged enough by his father and probably hugged far too much by his mother thinks that he is unrestrained, that he can do anything he wants unless his powerful mind stops him. These are the rantings of someone who should not be in power in any way. He shouldn't be a city council. He shouldn't be on the board of a homeowners association. And yet he's found himself with MAGA approval to be president of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful military that has ever existed. He has the nuclear codes within his grasp and is saying that it's his own morality, the credibly accused rapist of children, his morality will be his constraint. How's that worked out in the past? I don't need international law, he added. I'm not looking to hurt people.
Not international
and
law.
that's very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt.
One, I don't buy that. I think Donald Trump is absolutely seeking to hurt people. I think it brings him great joy. It brings him contentment to harm people, to watch people in misery. And the evidence is the shuttering of USAID, the stripping of healthcare, the stripping of food assistance, the removal of a woman's bodily autonomy to make healthcare decisions relative to her reproduction. All of these, and there's a litany. There's probably 10,000 things I could list right now. I'm not looking to hurt people. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to, even though I believe you are hurting people. And the fact that you don't view your harm of people as harm of people is a problem in and of itself. When pressed further about whether his administration needed to abide by international law, Mr. Trump said, I do. But he made clear he would be the arbiter when such constraints applied to the United States. Not lawyers who are experts in international law, not people at the DOJ, not his attorney general, not his advisors. He is the sole arbiter of how much power he has. Like a king, like a dictator, like a tyrant, like a Kim Jong-un type. Not in America, brother. Not in America.
Let me, he said it, he said not in America. Let me grab this Job, right? 20, because that's exactly what's happening. But it's definitely happening. It's in America already. This is Job 20 and 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Right. And this word wicked here goes into the definition of laborer, Amel, right? Amel. It says laborer, suffer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer, toiling. So the working class, whether it be middle class, lower class, even some upper class that just really don't fit, everyone that's getting hurt with this is coming against these devils in these last days. And I just seen Exxon, Trump went over there so-called to Venezuela and said they conquered the place, which there's heavy conflicting, reports of did they actually take it over or not? And Exxon is unsure if they want to invest billions of dollars to go into Venezuela, right? And Trump is upset about it. That's another working class individual that's against what he's doing because he went in there to take the oil, and Exxon saying, "No, I'm not going to go in there."
It depends what your definition of international law is, he said. It depends on what your definition of international law is. I mean, maybe we all know the answer to this question, but are you fucking stupid? It depends what the definition of international. We know what the definition of international law is. It's clear. It's outlined. It's basic. And the fact that basic words and concepts elude you is enough to disqualify. It should be enough to impeach, convict, and remove and forbid from running for federal office again. Final paragraph here. Mr. Trump's assessment of his own freedom to use any instrument of military, economic, or political power to cement American supremacy was the most blunt acknowledgement yet of his worldview. And its core is the concept that national strength, rather than laws, treaties, and conventions, should be the deciding factor as powers collide. I knew that the second term would be worse, but I had no idea exactly the trouble we would find ourselves. Everybody knew that it would be bad. I don't think anybody knew that it would be this bad, this quickly, certainly. A lot of people will, I'm not surprised by this. You should be surprised by this. You should be surprised, maybe not by the actions of Donald Trump, but there is zero pushback from Republicans. They are so weak. They are such just grinning idiots in the presence of Donald Trump, applauding tyranny. The man who said he has the authority to cancel all rules and regulations and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States, the party that whips out their little pocket constitutions like a prop, has nothing to say. As he does interviews like this, that should be alarming to anybody, especially those of us who have raised our right hand and sworn oath to the Constitution, a solemn vow to support and defend. I know, listen, I know probably foreigners, especially people who live outside of the United States, probably like, oh, they're always saying that the stupid line that they say all the time about support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But those are important words. And when you attach that, you append that to an oath. It's not just a little cute saying. You're raising your hand and you're swearing. And if you're religious, you're swearing before your God that you're going to support and defend all of the Constitution. And these phony patriots, these phony Christians, I don't have a word for that, they're just liars. They want to oppress black and brown people. It brings them giddiness, glee. They are beside themselves with joy to watch people oppressed, their freedoms suppressed, their ejection from the country, the detainment and arrest of American citizens by immigration officials. There will be consequences.
All right, so hey, the king, right? It's Isaiah 19 and 4, Isaiah 19 and 4, and the Egyptians, the Americans, will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them. Saith the Lord Yahweh, watch me, I will shout, Lord of hosts. And Nehemiah 47 is doing that. This is second Ezra chapter 16, 67, going back to this flood of individuals that the vice president, right, is allowing to come in here. Let's just see what else he got to say over here.
And the Fourth Amendment says that you're protected. A government, like an ICE agent, for example, can't perform an unreasonable search and seizure. Instead, you have to have a warrant based on probable cause, supported by an oath, and describing the place and items to be seized, right? And unfortunately, every house in the United States is not a valid probable cause, right? To say every house probably has an illegal in it is, well, really just, I mean, it's preposterous. It's completely preposterous. Now, there's a few instances where warrantless actions are permitted. And one, I want to remind you guys why I know this sort of stuff because of the 7 years I spent in the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General's office doing this kind of oversight. Also, I was a military police officer. So in addition to all my military training, I had a lot of training. And boy, if you're in a real police academy, which I know ICE went through because I went through FLETC myself, they definitely cover Fourth Amendment seizures. And they're so important because if you screw it up, the evidence you seized gets thrown out. So like if you find drugs and you searched the person illegally, the judge throws it out and now you just have another dealer on the street. Okay. So what are the exceptions? Well, obviously the person consents to a search. If someone is arrested, the police can do a search of the immediate area to ensure their safety in plain view, right? If it's obvious, if an officer can see it without searching, i.e., there's not really a search taking place. Like, for example, you do a traffic stop and you can literally see on the lap of the guy is like a bag of drugs or something, or like sitting on his dashboard is a baggie with cocaine in it. You go, hey man, this wasn't a search. You made it too obvious. There's also an urgent need, like preventing the active destruction of evidence or immediate danger, i.e., a woman in a house is screaming, he's going to kill me, right? At that point, you do have authorization to enter the home. And stop and frisk, a Terry stop. This has actually been deemed illegal, but then brought back by none other than Justice Brett Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court, who said, actually, guys, the founding fathers, they were just joshing around about the Fourth Amendment. Actually, you can definitely search someone and demand their documents at any time for any reason, as long as they're Hispanic, right? As long as they're doing Hispanic guy things, you can stop and search them. Now, you may think, that's kind of weird. The founding fathers, they talked about this all men created equal, but they meant that Hispanics were just a little less equal than the rest of us. Well, Brett Kavanaugh seemed to think so. And here's the thing that you should really ask yourself. Did any of those exceptions apply in the case of an illegal migrant, right? This is not someone who has committed a violent crime at all. In fact, in most cases, your first time crossing isn't even really a criminal matter. It's a civil matter. You get a bar to reentry and you're sent on your way. So want to take a look at this. And before we do it, I just want you to understand this part. Freedom of speech. That shows up.
All right, so you can check that out. But the flood it will come. All right, this is second Ezra chapter 16, verse 67. Behold, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua himself is the judge. Fear him, leave off from your sins, and forget your iniquities. To meddle no more with them forever, so shall Yahweh Bashem Yahushua lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And ultimately, that will be that MOTB. All right. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot, because once you go with them, you link up with them, whatever, they take you to their facility after they capture you and things like that, and the new world order is implemented. To get up out of your location or wherever the case may be, you will have to take that MOTB, right? It says, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And these are the Israelites, all Israelites, 2/3, 1/3, every Israelite. All right. It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O my beloved, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is your God, and the God of them who keep his commandments and precepts. Saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves, right? So repent, right? Turn back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, while you're still able, like, while he is near, all right? And just hope, in salvation, basically. Don't let your sins, your past sins, weigh you down. It says, woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through, right? So you don't want to be just committing sin after sin, continuing in it, waiting, putting off day from day to turn back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? It says it is left undressed and is cast into the fire and to be consumed therewith, right? And that fire will be the nuclear missiles, right here in America and also the land of Israel, right? And that Yahushua will come with chariots and fire beams, and to shoot forth laser beams, wherever else he does that. That's second Ezra chapter 13. All right, so pretty much blowing the trumpet on that. More Bible prophecy, right? J.D. Vance says the burning wrath of a great multitude will go door to door. Okay, Shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.